guys, so today I'm going to be looking at people reveal their unsolved mysteries. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. I lost my student ID in high school and some girl I didn't know found it in her pillowcase. What? Wait, so like a stranger just had the ID in their pillowcase? That's so creepy. I would freak out if I had someone else's ID in my pillowcase. Oh my gosh, I would freak out. That's so creepy. Unless she found it somewhere and then put it in her pillowcase. Because how else would it be in her pillowcase, you know? My husband and I were once on a train when some people got on and sat across from us. They were all loudly bored and hungry, and one of them was scrounging around under the seats. As we watched, he pulled a McDonald's bag from under the seat a few sections behind him. That bag was full of food. He began distributing burgers to his buddies until the last guy said, "No thanks, I don't like burgers." Then the guy reaches into the bag and says, "That's okay, here's a chicken sandwich." And he hands his buddy the last item. The bag had exactly enough of them to each have a sandwich and adequately fed the guy who didn't eat burgers. I still think about it. What? Wait, they just found food or something? Like the perfect amount of food to feed all of them? What is this? I'm so confused. Maybe someone puts it there for them every single day because they catch the train every single day. Maybe there's someone nice out there, maybe. My sister lost her car key and it turned up buried in my grandmother's garden. She lives 2 hours away and we see her 2 to 3 times a year. Maybe she left it at her grandmother's house and forgot about it, and then her grandmother just hid it because she was afraid she was going to lose it. I had a wristwatch that my dad bought me back in the 90s. It was one of those kinetic watches that would wind itself when you walk, etc. Anyway, for some reason it kept stopping at around 1:30 a.m. Never 1:30 in the afternoon. Sometimes it would keep going, but 3 out of 5 it would stop at the exact time. We sent it to the company to get repaired, and a month or 2 later, we get a catalogue of watches with a handwritten note basically saying, "We don't know what is wrong with your watch, we're stumped. Pick a watch out of this catalogue and have it as a replacement." So that's my possessed watch story. Oh, that is creepy. There was something about watches or clocks that were creepy. You know those big clocks that make a sound at night? Was it at midnight or something? I always found those so creepy. Why? They're just kind of creepy, honestly. I don't know. There's something about big clocks. Clocks, okay? Like analog clocks. I had one of those ice creams you get from the ice cream truck. I took a bite and watched as the rest of it fell off the stick, only to look down and see nothing on the ground. I still don't know what happened to my ice cream. I want my money back. What? The ice cream just disappeared? Where did it go? It wasn't on the floor. That's confusing. I would be like, "Oh, you didn't give me any ice cream yet. Can I get some more ice cream?" I'll be as confused, you know. Like, I would genuinely think I didn't get any ice cream. My mom inherited a watch from her grandmother. It was the old-fashioned kind that needed to be wound all the time, obviously. Anyway, one day it went missing, and despite turning the house upside down, she couldn't find it anywhere. In the end, she just accepted it had gone. Cut to a few years later, and we had moved house. We've been in the new place for about 6 months, and one night she woke up and turned the light on, and the watch was just sitting on her bedside table, wound and showing the correct time. She totally believes in ghosts and is confident her grandmother found it and brought it back to her. Oh my gosh. Yeah, sometimes, you know, when you lose something and you can't find it when you want to find it so bad, like you spend like an hour finding it and you can never find it. But then one day when you're just not looking for it, it just shows up on your desk. And you're like, hold on a second. If it was on my desk, I would have seen it and I would have found it straight away. Like, how did I not see it kind of thing? And then you start to think, something is possessed in here. A personal mystery. I was waiting on an order. There are 5 people in the room. Me, Daniel, a security guard, 2 kids and a cashier. Suddenly a child says, "Look at Daniel." And I look over at them and they're both staring at me. The security guard, cashier, both had name tags, so I know they weren't Daniel's. The 2 kids had each said each other's names, so I know they weren't Daniels. I felt kind of spooked, but I just moved on from it. Maybe they told the cashier their name or something, and then the child caught on. I was in high school waiting for my bus to pull up, and I was kind of just zoned out. There were kids talking, and I was just kind of absorbing the noise from it all. There was a group of kids talking close to me, and I hear one of them say that they didn't understand something about a game that I was familiar with. So I kind of butt in and answered the question. Him and his buddy were Asian, and they're just kind of staring at me in disbelief. So I apologized because I felt like I had been kind of rude. The one who had been talking said that it was fine, but he didn't expect me to understand Korean. He and his friend were foreign exchange students from South Korea, and at that moment he had been speaking in his native language. I heard him as if he had spoken plain English, and when he did speak in English, it wasn't as plain as what I had heard. I still have no idea how I understood him in that brief moment. I'm confused as well. What? So they just understood it? They just had like a power to understand the language? That's kind of cool. Unless they were speaking in English and then they forgot. And they thought they were speaking in Korean. Because how do you explain this? Maybe they're just messing with him. You know, how did you understand us? How? We weren't speaking English. This happened a few years ago to my brother and my mum. It was a parent-teacher conference at my brother's high school, and after waiting forever to finally meet with the teacher, they walk in and sit down. The teacher then says that our father was just in there right before them, and my mum was shocked and told him that there was no way. The teacher insists that he just walked out and gives his name and a perfect description of my father. Very tall man with a lot of freckles, brown hair and a thick moustache, and summarizes their meeting. My mum then informs him that my father has been dead for over 10 years and is in disbelief. The teacher had absolutely no background of our family and no way of knowing this is shocked himself. To this day, we have no idea what happened that day. Maybe he's alive. I mean, how else would the teacher be able to describe him unless the teacher met a ghost or something? You know? Like how? How? 1, he's still alive, or 2, she saw something. I was given a potato in school, cannot for the life of me remember why, and I was having a really good time playing with it. I went into my room and started throwing it up in the air and catching it. But one time I threw it up, it just seemed to curve backwards over my head. I heard it thump on the ground, but when I turned around to pick it up, it was gone. I spent 10 minutes looking everywhere for it, and it just wasn't there. When we moved house a year later, and I was emptying my room, I fully expected to find a gross, rotting potato somewhere, but still, it was nowhere to be found. I asked my parents, and even my sister, if they'd found and got rid of a potato in my room. Nobody had any idea about it. I'm going to spend the rest of my life wondering where that potato went. Haunted potato! The potato had legs. Maybe it was just so done with Hubens playing with it, it just ran away. I went to visit my mum's house to go say goodbye to my dog before my mum was going to take him to get put to sleep since he was really sick. I didn't want that to happen yet, so I was arguing with her about it for a while. At one point, my dog wanders off and I don't see him for a while. I couldn't find him. Figured he was out chilling in the horse pasture. It was dark and he wasn't coming when I called. I just thought he was doing his thing. I was sad and I couldn't say one last goodbye, but I had to get going. I walked to the front of the house where I was parked, and the little guy was in my car, sitting in the driver's seat looking at me with that stupid look he always got on his face when it was time for a car ride. I started crying right then. My windows were all the way up, my doors were locked. I had the only key. To this day, I have no earthly idea how he got in there. That was his way to convince him to let him go. My heart, honestly, I can't. Oh, that's so sad. I feel like dogs know. Dogs know when they need to go. That's so sad. I'm sad now. In college, eating breakfast with 3 friends. All have cereal with milk. One friend, Kay, also has a glass of milk. He's seated directly across from me. I watch him pick up the glass and drop it onto his lap. It disappears from my view as it strikes the table. Absolutely no reaction from him. We asked Kay if he's okay. Kay has no recollection of the glass of milk. We searched the immediate area and no milk anywhere. No glass anywhere. 3 of us remember the glass of milk. Kay has no recollection. What? What happened? That's so weird. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.